4.7, so shop improvements.
Before you get started, I just want to say something real quick. I don't think facilities should be included in the master agreement, period. You know, last year, maybe identifying most needed items. Last year we kind of whitelisted some deals and we contributed some substantial amount to the ag department, the greenhouse and some other stuff, whatever. So I don't think this should have anything to do with the master agreement, in our opinion.
Well, there's a few things that we do need to address, which is why we want to discuss them. So I will say a good portion of 4.7, if we get the Leading Idaho grant, the 2.0 Leading Idaho grant, right now I have about $500,000 worth of line items for that grant that we're currently working on. When we hear back from Justin on quotes for some upgrades and remodels to the shop. So there's a chance that there's a pool of up to $5 million per district. So there's a chance that many of these issues will be addressed by that grant. So really, we're trying to get some of this stuff acknowledged that it's deficient. It needs to be worked on. So funding for a lot of that, I'm hoping, can come out of the Leading Idaho grant. But there are a couple of things that we really do need to discuss. One is 4.7.2. With that would be the removal of the exposed asbestos paneling in the welding booths. During part of my preparation to this, I did find school board policy actually addresses the removal of exposed asbestos. So you do have a board policy on that, and that policy, as far as to my experience, has not been followed at this point. So we do still have exposed asbestos that can become friable if it's abraded and it is in a working space where students are using tooling and moving equipment around. So the possibility of that material being abraded and becoming aerosolized is actually very high. And with that, we would just simply request that the district follow their written policy on asbestos, which requires labeling, training, and a proposed, I believe it's a proposed schedule for it to be removed. But as far as I'm aware right now, there are 2 locations in the school district where there is exposed asbestos. It's actually the same material in 2 different locations. And that's areas where students would have access. So that would be the welding booths in the shop, would have asbestos fiberboard, and then the fume hood in the laboratory also has the same exposed asbestos fiberboard. If you want, I can dig around and find the school board policy on that.
No, it's exposed.
Yeah. And it's a significant amount, so it would most likely require professional abatement. It's beyond the square footage that can be covered by a district employee. Point number 5, adding a separate bathroom for the females. As it is a common issue now nationwide with political issues, it's in the forefront of everybody's mind. It's also in the forefront of my mind as a shop teacher. We need a separate facility out there dedicated to the young ladies. We do have a storage closet right next to the community bathroom that could be turned into a females only bathroom. I do have young ladies that actually refuse to use the restroom in my shop space. If they have other issues when they need to take care of themselves, most of them will actually leave my shop space and request to come over to the main building. I do provide items for them in the shared bathroom, but their main complaint is the young gentlemen that use that bathroom are, let's just say, not great at target practice. And they need a space that is their own. There are some young ladies that have expressed to me dislike for shop classes simply because of that. So for equality issues, for comfort issues, to be able to accommodate them, we would like the district to look at adding a separate facility for the young ladies in the shop space.
Then we'll look at it as a master agreement.
We have a commitment.
I'm not gonna put that, okay, so we're not gonna put facilities.
How about a verbal commitment
We'll
to
look
fix
at
the
it. We'll talk
bathroom?
about it as a board and look at it. I'm not gonna guarantee it's gonna happen. I can't speak for other board members.
Bring it up, discuss it.
It needs to happen.
Yeah. The existing bathroom is also described as creepy, which, you know, that's supposed to be an area of comfort for individuals. So we just need you to look at it. There's many issues with that, but yeah, that is one that we definitely need to do. Point number 6, with that, replacing existing doors. This is going to be something that we're going to need to do. We just want to discuss that one at this point. This is something that we need to do at some point along the line, especially if we receive the Leading Idaho grant. If we're going to have over $500,000 worth of equipment there, we need to be able to secure it. Most of the doors there have hasp locks or bolt locks that we put in the evening to keep them from being pried open again. We are deficient in a bunch of our tooling because it's walked out in the evenings, so that's something, yeah, we don't need to have it in the master agreement, but we do need to discuss that is
Oh, we agree, I agree, yeah, it's an issue.
On the side, I think I was shown a thing by Education News yesterday that there's a grant available for increasing security for schools.
Yep. And in fact, there is, yeah. It's quite like 22 million or something.
Each school's eligible for $20,000.
So that would buy a lot of doors.
could also pay for the cameras and security system out the shop.
I guess we're good.
So we're good dropping that from the master agreement?
Yeah, as long as they understand that those are issues that need to be addressed, especially number 2 and number 5.
Okay, next one, trip payment. So this one is from, I've had several coaches and staff that have to move, take kids to trips or something. And this is, we typically, if I'm not misinformed, we use prepaid checks for trips. We use a prepaid credit card in addition to that, or the choice, bring things up to, because it's, this would make things a little easier. Whoever does this gets the choice of either prepaid Visa and prepaid checks. I mean, you guys could.
Is this for per diem and mileage?
No, this would be for expenses of feeding students or other incidentals that occur on the trip.
So it's not for the advisors for kids, like purchases along the trip?
No, it would be for purchases along the trip.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, well,
So it's not,
not,
for like,
not per diem for the staff, but for the students. I'll use an example of my own. When I took the FFA students down to Twin Falls, I had to deposit a check into my own personal account and then use my personal debit card to make the purchases. That is a accounting issue that I don't want to have to deal with again. I don't want to deposit a significant check into my personal account to use my personal card to pay for students. It's got red flags written all over it, and I don't want to ever have to explain that to an IRS agent why I didn't pay taxes on money that came into my account. Since now they're tracking every single deposit over $660.
Revenuers are all.
Yep. So, I mean, they'll see that, and if they're not seeing taxes, I don't want to have to answer to why I'm not paying taxes on that $2,000 when it was never mine to begin with.
let me cut this real quick.